Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today in this nice occasion, we are from Group 3. Will present a very nice topic that is a grounded theory designs. Okay, before we start our presentation today, I would like to introduce the member of the group. There is Pak William Hammer, Nur Asmi Rohimajaya, Nadia Ma'mun, and myself, January Rizky Pratama Rusman. Okay, we'll start our presentation. Okay, first of all, I would like to talk about what is grounded theory design actually. Okay, let me start with by giving the definition. Okay, as you can see in the slide, okay, a grounded theory design is a systematic qualitative procedure used to generate a theory that explains at a broad conceptual level a process, an action, or an interaction about a substantive topic. Okay, this design explains an educational process of events, activities, actions, and interaction that occur over time. Okay, so from the definition, I think it describes the main point of the theory because yeah, as you can see in the slide, okay, there are some keywords there that is qualitative procedure, okay, and the theory and conceptual level, okay, action and interaction, and also a substantive topic. Okay, for the further explanation will be described in the next slides. Okay, and then after the definition, of course, we the next question is when. Okay, when do we use grounded theory design? Okay, actually, personally, the in my opinion, the grounded theory design or this design of research is really essential. Yeah, and also it is quite related to be implemented in the educational research, something like that. Because yeah, as you can see in the first box in my presentation, okay, the researchers uh, use the grounded theory design, okay, when they need a broad theory or explanation of a process. Okay, this research design provides a better explanation than a theory borrowed of the self because it fits the situation, actually works in practice, is sensitive to individuals in a setting, and might represent all of the complexities actually found in the process. Okay, and then that is the first reason why the researchers or someone needs to implement or use a grounded theory design. Okay, because as I have said before, they when they need a broad theory or explanation about or regarding a process. Okay, and then in the second box, as you can see, okay, the researchers or someone may use this grounded theory design when they want to study some process. Okay, it meaning that this design is used to explain actions of people, such as the process of participating in an adult education class or an interaction among people, such as the support department change provide for faculty researchers. Okay, so I think it is quite clear. when someone when a researcher or the researchers uh, want to do a qualitative research, okay, especially in education or in the social field, okay, they can implement this research method, okay, because yeah, there are two main reasons or two main explanation when someone or or when the theory can be implemented in a research, or maybe when the researchers uh, have to use this method, or appropriate, or when the method is appropriate to be used, something like that. Okay, next. Okay, before we talk further about this topic, I would like to give a general historical background, okay, regarding this research method, okay, that is, as you can see in the slide in the presentation, okay, it comes from the two sociologists actually, okay, namely Glaser and Strauss, okay, that maybe we can say that they are they are the founding fathers of this theory, something like that, if we may say like that, okay, and then uh, they work in some research and implement the method, okay, and after that they compile their experience, the data that they got, and after that they compile them in a book, okay, if I'm not mistaken the book's entitled the Grounded Theory, okay, and then also the book provides the experience of the two people in finding or in doing the research through the method that they develop, okay, and then yeah, this this theory firstly implemented in the social experiment, okay, but of course in its development the theory can be implemented in the educational field, something like that. Okay, next. Okay, that is a general introduction regarding the historical background of the theory. Okay, and then let's move to the next topic. Okay, that is the types of grounded theory. Okay, in general, this this research method has three kinds. Okay, three kinds of approach, okay, or design, okay. It can be divided into three. Those are, first is the systematic design, the second one is emergence design, and the third is a constructive design. Okay, let's talk about them one by one. Okay, first is the systematic design. Okay, the systematic design for grounded theory is widely used in educational research, and it is associated with the detailed, rigorous procedures that Strauss and Corbin identified in 1990 and elaborated in their second and third edition on techniques and procedures for developing grounded theory. Okay, so until here we know that this approach or this design, that is the systematic designs, was proposed by uh, Strauss and Corbin actually, yeah, and then this kind of research or this kind of design has three phases, okay, of coding in its implementation. Okay, those three phases of coding are open coding, axial coding, and selective coding, and I will talk about them and then in the next slide. Okay, but to sum up, I want to emphasize that in this systematic design, okay, as its name, it is systematic, of course. Okay, so it is yeah, it consists of some procedures and steps. Okay, I think that is the emphasis of this design of research. Okay, okay, so let's move to the basis of this research design. Okay, as I have said before, there are three phases. Okay, first is open coding, and the second one is axial coding, and the third is selective coding. Okay, first of all, I would like to talk about open coding. Okay, the grounded theories or everyone who implements this theory in his or her research, okay, forms initial categories of information about the phenomenon being studied by segmenting information. In this kind of coding, the researcher bases categories on all data collected, such as interviews, observation, and researchers' memos or notes. Okay, regarding to uh, the category of the data, like interview, observation, and memos or notes, it will be presented. It will be delivered in the next slide of this presentation. Okay, so in here I just give the general descriptions. Okay, okay, so yeah, as I have said before, this kind of research emphasize the steps or the procedure. Okay, and in here we also have the categories of the data, meaning that the data will be categorized in some categories. Okay, and after that, the data will be used to generate a theory or proposition or a hypothesis, something like that. Okay, and after that, we will talk about axial coding. Okay, the second phase, of the coding in this research design. Okay, the grounded theory selects uh, one open coding category, positions it at the center of the process being explored as the core phenomenon, and then relates other categories to it. These other categories are the causal conditions, factors that influence the core phenomenon, strategies or actions taken in response to the core phenomenon, or and contextual and intervening conditions or specific and general situational factors that influence the strategies and consequences or outcomes from using the strategies. Okay, I would like to emphasize that in these spaces, okay, in the spaces, the researcher or the theorist, okay, should involve the drawing of a diagram. Okay, I think that the existence of diagram in the spaces is really crucial and essential. Okay, and the diagram is called coding paradigm. Okay, so why I say this coding paradigm is essential, because it is it is the base of for the researcher to generate the theory. So the data uh, the data are delivered are presented in the form of a diagram. Okay, and after that the diagram will be will be used to generate a theory or proposition or a hypothesis. Okay, okay. Let's move to the next point, that is selective coding. Okay, after the open coding and then the axial coding, next is the selective coding. Okay, in selective coding, the grounded theorist writes a theory from the interrelationship of the categories in the axial coding model. At a basic level, this theory provides an abstract explanation for the process being studied in the research. Okay, as I have said before, uh, uh, after after the researcher conduct the first and the second phase, uh, okay, in this research design, okay, and in the third phase, okay, in the third phase, it provides, okay, uh, the the data, and the data will be used to generate a theory or a hypothesis or a proposition in the in the research. Okay, so all of those phases is 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 uh, are related to each other. So yeah, so if the researchers decide to use to use systematic design, okay, of course, it means that she or he will implement the three phases, okay, that I have discussed. Okay, and then I think that's all for the three phases of the systematic design. Okay, but before we move to the second and third research design in this grounded theory design, I would like to provide an example of coding categories in grounded theory. Okay, let's take a look in the slide. Okay, yeah, you can see in the categories column. Okay, it has four categories actually. Okay, we have specialization. Okay, specialization and transferable skills, finding a focus, and learning on the job. Okay, and after that, we also have many subcategories. Okay, meaning that uh, every categories has subcategories. Okay, in the specialization category, we have definition, generals, and change agent as the subcategories, and also we also have many subcategories in the in the next categories. Okay, and after that, you can see the form of the coding. Okay, and you can see in the box below. Okay, the explanation of each code. Okay, we have hashtag. It means that the interview, and then CO and hashtag. It means pilot, and F means focus groups, J journal, M memo, and O observation. Okay, so this table this figure is taken from the Creswell 2012. Okay, and then in this case, okay, the research involves 27 respondents or samples. Okay, as you can see, yeah, I think this is the example of the coding. Okay, if we use coding categories in grounded theory. Okay, something like this. Okay, next we move to the second. Yeah, and this one is actually quite similar to the previous one, but in this table, okay, there are properties and dimensionalized dimensionalized, okay, dimensionalized properties. Okay, in the systematic design, especially in the Excel coding, uh, we we may involve the uh, the the coding categories in grounded theory with properties and dimensionalized properties. Okay, and the form is like this. Okay, as you can see, this in this example, it involves seven, one, two, three, four, five, seven, oh sorry, eight category. Okay, we have provider, enabler, advocate, mentor, encourager. Oh sorry, seven. Collaborator and challenger. Okay, and then each category has the properties, okay, and the dimensionalized properties, and it provides uh, an example. Okay, next. Yeah, uh, yeah, and then let's talk about grounded theory coding from open coding to the Excel coding paradigm. Okay, so this is the transition. Okay, this is the transition from the first page to the second page. Okay, yeah, as you can see in the left of the screen, okay, one, two, three, four, five. There are five category, okay, in open coding categories, and then there is the axial coding paradigm. Okay, we have context, strategies, a consequence, core category or phenomenon, causal conditions, and intervening conditions. Okay, causal conditions. Okay, causal conditions means that categories of conditions that influence the core category. Okay, so it means that it is the condition. Okay, it is the condition that influence the core category. It may the condition of the in the field, the condition of the researcher, or the respondents or something. Okay, and then the context. Okay, after that the context in here, context means that it is the specific conditions that influence the strategies. Okay, so it's clear that context means that the specific conditions, okay, that influence the strategies. Okay, and after that the core category or phenomenon. Okay, it means that the idea of phenomenon central to the process. Okay, so the proposition that that is proposed. Okay, so that is the core category or phenomenon. Okay, and after that, the intervening conditions. Okay, the general contextual conditions that influence strategy. Okay, so intervening conditions means that the general contextual conditions that influence strategy. So, if context is the specific conditions that influence the strategy, so the intervening conditions is the general contextual conditions, sorry, the general contextual conditions that influence strategy. So that is the difference between context and intervening conditions. And after that, let's talk about strategies. Okay, strategies means that the specific actions or interactions that result from the core phenomenon. And the last is the consequences. Okay, which means that the outcomes of employing the strategies. Okay, so yeah, the consequence, of course, it is the outcome. Okay, or the result of of the of the uh, of the of the of the basis of the systematic research design. Okay, next we will talk about the emergence design. Okay, we'll talk about the emergence design. Okay, uh, this approach aims to develop an explanation for discussion in high school social studies classrooms. The procedure of this approach was to generate categories by examining the data, refining the categories into fewer categories, comparing data with emerging categories, and writing a theory of several processes involved in classroom discussions. Okay, so yeah, I think research design, this second research design, is quite different from the previous one. Okay, the systematic research design. Actually, both of them are proposed by the same person. Okay, if the systematic design is proposed by sorry actually the emergence design and systematic sorry this the emergent design is proposed by Glaser. Okay, and Glaser is known to be one of the academician that established the grounded theory together with Strauss. Okay, but Strauss and Corbin, okay, who proposed the systematic design approach. Uh, they propose some emphasize the the steps. Okay, the steps of the research. And actually in this in this point, Glaser doesn't totally agree with Strauss and Corbin. That's why he proposed the emergence design. Okay, because according to Glaser, okay, Strauss and Corbin had overly emphasized rules and procedures or step. Okay, and also a preconceived framework for categories and theory verification rather than theory generation. Okay, so that's why Glaser come to the proposition of this research design, that is the emergence design. Okay, actually, the this research design has several major ideas. As you can see, there are 3 points. First is grounded theory exists at the most abstract conceptual level rather than the least abstract level as found in visual data presentation such as coding paradigm. Okay, the second one is a theory is grounded in the data and it is not forced into categories. And third one is a good grounded theory must meet for central criteria. Okay, so yeah, Glaser, as I have said before, also proposed the grounded theory. Okay, together with Strauss. Okay, but in the development of the theory, they have different opinion and perspective. Okay, in which Strauss and Corbin proposed the systematic design, and then uh, Glaser felt that uh, the design is not too appropriate, so he proposed another design, that is emergence design. Okay, but both of them, of course, as I have said before, are included into the grounded theory research. Okay, next, the last, uh, the last point of my presentation today. That is the constructivist design. Okay, the constructivist approach or design has been articulated by Charmas. Okay, so this design, this research design is proposed by Charmas. Okay, as a philosophical positions. Uh, yeah, because she believed that uh, we the research should focus on the meaning, okay, ascribed by participants in a study. Okay, so she is more interested in the views, values, beliefs, feelings, assumptions, and ideologies of individuals than in gathering facts in and describing acts. Okay, uh, and then in this research design, we it is known that it implements the using of active codes such as recasting life. Okay, best captures the experience of individuals. So yeah, as its name, it this research design construct, okay, construct very detailed step by step of the research process. Okay, so it can obtain the very the very detailed part of the data to support the research. Okay, okay, maybe that's all for my part. Okay, and the second presenters will be daily. The second presenters will be William. Okay, William, the time is yours, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Pak Ricky, for presenting the nature of grounded theory research as well as the types of grounded theory research. Well, in this part, let me try to grounded theory research. Okay, as there are several characteristics of grounded theory research. The first one is process approach, and then theoretical sees a core category, theory generation, and the last is most. Well, explain one by one. The first is about a process approach. As stated by Corbin and Strauss, a process in a sequence of action and interaction among people and events pertaining to a topic. So in these topics, the researcher can isolate and identify actions and interaction among people. Or we can be called as isolated aspect categories. Meaning that categories in grounded theory designs are the theme of basic information researcher and used to understand process. In this grounded theory research, there are several types of labels or titles used related to the theme or categories. One of them is what we focus. Next, bro. Here, the researchers identifying passages or transcripts or observational field notes to locate phrases mentioned by participant that capture the intent of category. Codes in vivo codes are labels for categories or theme that are pressed in the exact words of participant rather than in the social science or educational terms. All right. Now let's have a look at a process and categories within the flow of research in grounded theory. We try to start to determine the research problem related to a study of a central phenomenon. As you can see in the figure, it is what we call is at a process. It's a process approach or one step away to grounded research design. Here we can address a process here which contain a sequence of activities and then including action by people, and then including also interaction by people, and then after that we have to determine which grounded theories begin to understand by developing categories, relating categories, and developing a theory that explain what we have to address a process. This is a cycle of process and categories within the flow of research in grounded theory. Okay. Next, Bro Ricky. Now let's have a look at another characteristic of grounded theory: theoretical sampling. Theoretical sampling in grounded theory means that the researcher chooses form of the data collection that will yield text, and this is meaning that the sampling is intentional and focused on the generation of a theory. Okay, and then beyond sampling data for its theoretical value, grounded theories also act. And then the last is about here an emerging design in grounded theory research is the process in which the researcher collects data, analyze it, acting until until all the data are collected. And then basis the decision about what data to collect next, the step how to determine the theoretical sampling in grounded theory research. Okay, next, Bro Ricky. Okay, perhaps this is what we call theoretical sampling. What about okay, now let's have a look at also figure an analysis to achieve saturation of categories. Okay, okay, to achieve saturation categories, we can see in the diagram, in the data collection, we start to more refined categories, second interview, preliminary category, and so on. This is the zigzag data collection, the step how to analyze data mentioned before about categories. The researcher should capture the intent of a category. So this is the step, yeah, what we call zigzag data. Okay, next, bro, everybody. Now let's have a look at another type of another key characteristic of grounded theory research. Comparative data analysis. Here in constant comparative data analysis, it can be said that it is an inductive data analysis procedure by comparing incidents to other incident. The overall intent is to ground the categories in the data, and then indicators in turn group in several codes. Example, there are code A, code B, and code C. And then next is we can eliminate redundancy and develop evidence for categories. This is the steps. So our book from Glaser, what is the data, a study of what category of what property of what category does the incident indicate, what is actually happening in the data, and then what is the basic social psychology process or social structure process in action scene. So in this constant comparative data analysis, we can determine that group A, code A, code B, and code C. And then perhaps the next, we can see also figure about constant comparison process. Said just now about code. For it, there is two, and then it consists of code A, code B, and code C. And then And every codes will contain indicators. Yeah, in every indicators have raw data. Example, transcripts, field notes, or document. This is constant comparison procedure in grounded theory. You can see from the figure book. Okay, next. Well, core category, another key characteristic of grounded theory research. This category, a core category means it belongs to list of detailed criteria that what Strauss and Corbin identified in this core category for choosing choosing a central or core or central category. There are central category here. The V central, meaning that all the major categories can relate to it. So we have to determine the categories that relate to the major categories here. The next one is appear frequently in the data. It means that the categories should appear frequently in the data. This means that within all or almost all cases, there are indicators. There are indicators pointing to that concept. Okay, and then next is the explanation. The explanation that evolves by relating the category should be logical. Should be logical and consistent. It's mean that there is no forcing of data. There is no forcing of data. And then next one is the name or praise. Okay. And then as the concept is refined, the theory grows in depth and explanatory power. And the last is when conditions vary, the explanation still holds, although it might look somewhat different. Said about a list of core category in grounded theory research. Now let's have a look at what mentioned in figure 13.7 about core category. Example of a core category in a theoretical model of stages of for first determine about context. For context, for example, ownership, power of participant, momentum, duration, timing. That's for example the context. And then we move to action or interaction. For example, leverage by discourse, introduce ideas, explore, propose, and so on. And then as you can see, there are also, for example, causal condition, phenomenon, and intervening condition. Maybe next, Pak Ricky. let's have a look at another characteristic. This theory in grounded theory research is an abstract explanation or understanding of a process about substantive topic grounded in the data. Yeah, to the data, it does not have wide applicability or scope. And then also in this theory generation, it is drawn provides an explanation of a substantive topics. These are what we call theory generation, as stated by Chalmers, 2000 here. So in theoretical proposition or the in grounded theory research are statement indicating the relation approach to actual coding that includes causal condition. So the core category or phenomenon, the context, the intervening conditions, strategies, and consequences. We can see also from figure 11.8 about minority students' process of communicating building. As we said about intervening condition, for example, there are ethnicity, gender, background, and sense of self. And then we can move to peer strategy, and then community. In strategies, we can draw withdrawal, passive, low risk, active. And then for causal condition, it includes nature of interaction, racial influences, time to develop friend, and so on. So in this example of a theory, model of ethnic minority students process of community building. This is what about generating theory to for example a model of ethnic, for example a model of ethnic minority students process of community building. Okay. And then what about the last features of Bro Ricky? Okay. In these characteristics, what we call memos, meaning that memos are notes. It is a tool that provides researchers with an ongoing dialogue with themselves about emerging theory. Memos are not the researcher writes throughout the research process to elaborate an idea about the data and the coded categories. In memos, the researcher explores hunches, ideas, and thought, and then take them apart, always searching for the broader explanation. Memos also help, yeah, help direct the inquirer toward new sources of data, shape which ideas to develop further, and prevent paralysis from mountains of data. Okay. Uh, uh, However, grounded theory studies do not often report memo. They do not provide evidence of how it was used. It is as Petchak stated about a memos. In short, memos can be short or long, more detailed and related to codes and categories, or broaden and more abstract. Uh, we can see some illustration about memoing in a study about process to identify loss by individual. For example, discuss how memoing helped to her. You can see illustration from page 439 about memos. Okay, perhaps it is enough. A little bit about or the characteristic of grounded theory research. I hope that we can get another highlights about perhaps potential ethical issues in grounded theory for the nice attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Pak William. Okay, I also do apologize because I have trouble in my internet connection. So yeah, let's continue to the next presenter. Okay, we will have Bu Asmi Rohimajaya. Okay, for Bu Asmi Rohimajaya, time is yours.
All right. Before we continue to how to evaluate grounded theory research, we are going to discuss about what are the steps in conducting grounded theory research. Here there are some steps as follows. The first one is decide if a grounded theory design best addresses the research problem. And then the second is it identify a process to study. And the third is seek approval and access. The fourth is conduct theoretical sampling. And then the fifth is code the data. And the sixth, use selective coding and develop the theory. And the next one is validate the theory. And the last is write a grounded theory research report. All right. Next. Yeah. The first step is decide if a grounded theory design best addresses the research problem. As we know that a grounded theory design is appropriate when the researcher wants to develop or modify a theory, explain a process, and develop a general abstraction of the interaction and action of the people. Grounded theory seems applicable for those individuals who are trained in quantitative research but want to explore a qualitative procedure that is rigorous and systematic. Next, please. Yeah, the the second steps is identify a process to study. Because of the intent of grounded theory research is to explain a process, the researcher need to identify early a tentative process to examine in grounded theory study. This process may change and emerge during the research, but the researcher needs to have an idea of the process at this step. And then in this step, this process should naturally follow from the researcher problem and question that you seek to answer. Yeah, and then it needs to include people who are acting or interacting with identifiable steps or sequence in their interaction. Yeah, here the steps to seek a profile and access. Next step, please. Yeah. Conduct theoretical sampling. The key concept in grounded theory data collection is to gather information that can assist in the development of a theory. Grounded theory use many forms of data, but many researchers rely on interviews to best capture the experience of individuals in their own words. Yeah. Grounded theory use many forms of the data. Yeah, a characteristic of grounded theory research is the inquiry collects data more than once and keeps returning to data source for more information throughout a study until the categories are saturated and the theory is fully developed. Yeah, this is the conduct theoretical sampling. Next, please. Code the data. Yeah, here the process of coding data occurs during data collection, so that the researcher can determine what data to collect the next. Yeah, from open coding, the researcher proceeds to actual coding and the development of a coding paradigm. And then this what is it? These steps involves the process identified selecting a core category from the open coding possibilities and positioning it at the center of the actual coding process as a core category. Yeah. Next. Where? Use selective coding and develop the theory. In this procedure, yeah, includes interrelating the categories in the coding paradigm, refining the actual coding paradigm, and presenting it as a model or theory of the process. And then this step may include writing proposition that provide testable ideas for further research. Yeah, what is it? This use a selective coding and develop the theory. Yeah. Well, next, the seven is validate the theory. And in grounded theory research, validation is an active part of the process of research. After developing a theory, the grounded theorist validates the process by comparing it with existing process found in the literature. And according to Strauss and Carbin, 1998, outside reviewers, such as the participants in the project who judge the grounded theory using canons of a good science, may substance the theory, including the validity and credibility of the data. Yeah, here is validate the theory, the steps validate of the theory. And the last, next. Yeah, the last step is write a grounded theory research report. The last step, the researcher reporting his or her abstraction of the process under examination. The structure of grounded theory report will vary from a flexible structure in the emerging and constructivist design to a more quantitatively oriented structure in the systematic design. And here, in qualitative design, the structure of grounded theory studies are scientific and include a problem, method, discussion, and result. Yeah, it is the last step. write a grounded theory research report. And the next topic will be explained by the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bu Nurazmi, for your presentation. Okay, next we will have the fourth presenter, that is Ibu Nadiah Makmun. Okay, Ibu Nadiah Makmun, time is yours.
Yeah, can you hear my voice?
Yes, clear, Bu.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the chance, Pak Riki. Okay, let me continue to elaborate my part, my turn. It's about how to evaluate grounded theory research. Criteria for specifically evaluating a grounded theory study are available in Charmas 2006, Strauss and Corbin 1990, 1998, and in Corbin and Strauss 2008. Charmas uses terms such as credibility or originality, resonance, and usefulness. Next, Pak Riki. Yeah. Corbin and Strauss 2008 discuss factors such as how individuals can benefit from the research, such as fit, sensitivity, and applicability, the importance of concepts or categories, and their discussion within a context, the logic, depth, and variation, and the creative, innovative manner in which the researcher says something new. And next slide, Riki. Yeah. Well, in this slide, in high quality grounded theory study, some combination of these factors exists, and the author first makes explicit the process or action at the heart of the study. Second, develops or generates a theory at the end of the study that is grounded in the view of the participants. Third, makes certain that a link exists between the data, the generation of categories, and the ultimate theory. And fourth, the next slide, Pak Riki. Yeah. Fourth, provides evidence of using memoing and sampling that enables the generation of the theory. And the fifth, presents a visual model of the theory. And the last, provides evidence of the use of one of the types of grounded theory designs, such as systematic. There are, as previous researchers explained before, that such as use one of them systematic or emerging or constructivism approaches. Well, that's all from me, Pak Riki. Thank you. And the next will be continue by next presenter. Thank you, Pak Riki.
Yes, thank you so much, Bu Nadia. For the last part of this presentation, actually our group will provide the example of grounded theory research, but of course, because the limited time that we have, I will provide the general overview regarding the example of this grounded theory research. Okay, so the title of the example that is provided here is developing a leadership identity, a grounded theory. Okay, so yeah, this is the background. Okay, this is the background and the introduction. Okay, so again, this is the general description and the summary. Okay, we provide the point of overview in this slide regarding the example. Okay, so as you can see in the slide, this is the background of the the research. Okay, grounded theory characteristic and marginal annotations, and after that the research discuss the example discusses about a process approach. Okay, so it used the process approach actually here. Okay, and then theory generation. Okay, uh, yeah, because this presentation is about the grounded theory. Of course, the method used in the study as the example is the grounded theory itself. Okay, so it reflects the developmental experience of college students participants who had been observed working effectively with others toward shared purposes, that is, who had demonstrated relational leadership. Okay, and then next is the theoretical sampling. Okay, it consists of procedures. Okay, as you can see, okay, in the slide, this this research was conducted at Atlantic Research University. Okay, and the students as the as and the nominators. Okay, and they are the students in the university as the respondents of the research. Okay, so as I have said before, okay, the participants is the students, 13 students who exhibited the theoretical dimension of relational leadership to participate in the study. Okay, so it is the students came come from come from various ethnies. Okay, as you can see, so it will make the data more vary. And then after participants, it is the constant comparative data analysis. Okay, the study used in-depth interviews and trustworthiness. Okay, so yeah, it used interviews actually as the method of collecting data. And then the data analysis, as you can see. Okay, and as described in the previous slides. Okay, the data is analyzed. The data were analyzed. Use the phases. Okay, the three phases in systematic design research. Those are open, axial, and selective codes. And then finding and emerging theory. Okay, after that, yeah, it comes to the summary of the finding of the research. Okay, and discussion and implications. Okay, after developing an awareness of leadership, the students in this study described their shifting leadership identity as moving from a hierarchical, leader-centric view to one that embraced leadership as a collaborative, relational process. Okay, this is the limitations and the implications of the study. Okay, maybe that's all for our presentation today. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. Okay, thank you so much for all presenters, Pak William, Pak Nadia, and Bu Azmi. Thank you so much, and also thank you so much for Bu Anggani as the lecturers in this class. Okay, and for the question and answer session, as usual, it will be conducted through the WA group. Okay, So thank you so much for your attention. Have a nice day, and I will close this presentation by saying Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Okay, thank you so much for your attention. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.